The sponsor for this episode of The Stand is MyCase. When you're running a law firm, trust isn't just important, it's everything. And that's why more than 19,000 law firms rely on MyCase to keep their practices running smoothly. MyCase is a legal practice management software that helps you stay organized, deliver better outcomes for your clients, and grow your firm with confidence. By optimizing their day-to-day operations, firms collect payments faster, 3 times faster in fact, and handle up to 38% more cases. You'll also get real-time insights to make smarter business decisions, all in one place. Ready to see how MyCase can set your firm up for success? Head to www.mycase.com/thestand to get started.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Alan Wilson from GLJ Benefit Consultants, and welcome to Lemonade for Legal Network and our podcast, The Stand, where we discuss expert solutions to modern law firm challenges. And today, our guest is Michael Migdol from isolved. Michael, welcome to The Stand.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, great. Michael, tell us a little bit about you and tell us about isolved.
So, I am the director of sales at isolved. Been with isolved almost 15 years now. Live here in Arizona and originally from New York, if you can't tell from the accent. But been in the payroll world for a little over 20 years now. So, keep me nice and busy.
Well, you've seen a lot of changes
there has
during that time.
Definitely been a lot of changes. A lot of changes in people, but mainly in technology and all the cool little new shiny toys that are out there for people to use.
Well, and that's what isolved is about, and it's about technology. So let's talk a little bit about that today, and let's talk about what we'll talk about what the challenge is. So let's talk about managing payroll. And managing payroll really in a kind of that one-step solution. I think everybody's looking for, this magic pill that has everything together, right? So tell us a little bit about that challenge.
So there's probably well over 1,000 payroll companies that are out there, from Alan's payroll shop on the corner of Arizona to, the big Goliath, ADP, Paychex, the big monsters. But the majority of payroll platforms that are out there, or most technology platforms, are made up of multiple databases, right? So law firms are having a really hard time and struggling with kind of leveraging the technology to fit into their world. So they're keeping their processes, their employee-employer relationships built into technology that's back-end, that sometimes talk to each other, that sometimes that doesn't. So a lot of firms are leaning to find an all-in-one single solution platform that's out there from hire to retire, right? So that as the firm grows in size or even decides to maintain their size, they have the technology to support what their day-to-day goals are.
So Michael, tell me some of the pain points that administrators are facing and that law firms are facing today with technology.
It's utilizing the technology for the future, right? For future planning. So what I mean by that is post-COVID, firms have employees that are used to working remotely. However, times are starting to shift that employees are now coming back to the office in a lot of cases, right? So reacclimating the employees to getting up and getting dressed every day to go to work, rather than just being able to put on a nice shirt and leave their pajama pants on the bottom at home. It's a different environment. So getting them reacclimated into the firm life and having the technology in place to help them do that is a huge challenge that they're finding, because the firms always have a growth plan, right? So it's succession planning. It is training for futures. It could be growth into additional locations or multiple states, right? It could be all these different challenges based on those firms' needs. So they have to find that right technology, whether it's payroll, accounting, even the office supplies that they offer, and putting that technology into the environment of the firm to prepare them for that growth.
So what would you say that the biggest frustration that you hear of when you begin those talks, or you start having a talk with a firm about their technology and their payroll and all of those pieces and parts that go into it, what do you find is the biggest frustration?
Good question. Mainly that the administrator or the managers of departments are having to work in multiple systems, right? They're having to work in a payroll system, in a time and billing system, in an insurance enrollment system, in an office supply system. They're having to manage all these different systems just to make the firm work on a day-to-day basis.
So, and that becomes, with all those different systems, there's all different trainings, and they have to be trained on this system, then they have to be trained on this system, and then how do they all talk to each other? And
correct.
So that I just can imagine that. I've never done payroll. I've never done.
Me neither.
I've never. Yeah, right. I've never done those things. But it always just magically appears that my paycheck comes. But I know, and just in talking with firms over the years, I hear those frustrations also. Oh gosh, I gotta get payroll out. I can't talk to you this week because I have to get payroll out, or I can't. Payroll's coming up. Well, how many times do you do payroll? Well, we do it twice a month. Oh well, I don't. I don't have any time to talk to you ever. Then it seems like
it's because it's one of the most important aspects of any organization, right? Your employees come to work to earn a paycheck to put food on the table for their families. You as the administrator, you as the payroll manager, you're not the end user of the product. Your employees, and no matter where they are, their families are relying on the product that you have in place in your firm to make sure that there's food on that table in a timely manner to feed their families. So having the right solution helps them. So as many administrators and most payroll professionals, HR professionals, take that personally. It's a personal obligation to make sure that the employees are taken care of.
I remember when we first started our relationship 20 years ago, and Gary Johnson, right? I remember Gary saying to you, when we started talking, I remember him saying, there's just a couple of things you just don't mess with people. The number one thing is don't mess with their paycheck.
That's right. You do not. You do not mess with their paychecks. You do not mess with their day-to-day family life. That's the most important part. And that adds to the culture in any organization.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think we're getting to some really good meat here on identifying what the challenge is. And, that challenge and frustration that's out there of having so many different systems, that seems to be the frustration. That seems to be the challenge. So let's say that we identify the challenge for this sake of moving on to a solution. That challenge is trying to consolidate or have all of those solutions together. Whether it's payroll or whether it's HR or whether it's enrollment, how do we bring those together? So that sounds like that seems to be the challenge, and is that the challenge that you talk mostly about?
It is. However, there's game plans that lead up to it, right? So once you go and you identify that challenge, okay, you know where you want to take the firm 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, no matter what that is, whether it's on a payroll aspect or just an organizational aspect. But identifying what those changes need to be prior to even starting any type of evaluation is the key part. So one of the things that I've trained my team to go do is find out what their goals are. What are they trying to accomplish from this meeting? So if you could take a payroll software in the isolved case, how do we go through and best implement it in the firm? What are your employees wanting, but what are they needing? How do the employees feel engaged? Right? Especially those firms that have employees still working remotely or working out of state. Right? How do we get it so that it becomes a team environment so that a partner in Alabama can look at the technology and see and put a name with the face of a paralegal in California, right? And building that camaraderie around the entire organization, because the majority of employees want to be involved. They want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of something bigger, right? So utilizing technology can allow any firm to do that in multiple different facets.
So I think that there's nothing better, I guess I should say, than there is just nothing better than talking to firms about their goals and objectives. And because if you can identify what their goals are, right, and what their objectives are, regardless of whether it's payroll or what we do with insurance, or whether it's whatever it is, or whatever a solution is that they need, understanding the goals and objectives of the firm are critical. And then you start talking about, okay, what keeps you up at night? What is the pain point? So I think we've got to boy, there's a lot of challenges here, but I think for the one challenge, I think we've identified it as how do we bring all of these multiple challenges, but we have one solution for it.
And I think part of it is educating the administrators and the decision makers, whoever it is, because they may not know what else is out there. What is new in the payroll world? What is new in the insurance world? What is new in the copy machine world? So it's our job as consultants, as friends, as business partners, to go through and help them see what else is available for them.
So that fits right into what we try to do here on the stand is educate, inspire, entertain. That's what we do. So we'll talk about education, and I think we've identified what we need to talk about and move on to the solution. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Why do 60,000 legal professionals choose MyCase as a partner in their success? Designed specifically for law firms, MyCase offers industry-leading business management software to help you convert leads and get clients onboarded quickly with dynamic online forms. Foster collaboration using cloud-based case management and secure communication portals. Streamline tasks and workflows with tailored legal AI. And experience unparalleled financial control with built-in spend management and legal accounting. Freeing your focus for high-impact work, helping you to deliver exceptional service every time. So why MyCase? Because your law firm deserves a partner as dynamic and dedicated as you. MyCase, practice management made simple.
Okay, welcome back to the stand, where we have Michael Migdol. We're having a discussion today about the frustrations that administrators at law firms have with all of the different technologies and all of the different challenges that they have with different platforms, and whether it's payroll or whether it's enrollment. I think we've identified that as being really what the challenge is. And now let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about moving that towards one solution for all of these many challenges. Maybe you can give me an example of someone that you've worked with, a firm that you've worked with, where they had several different frustrations or even a specific frustration, and you were able to bring that solution together into one place.
Yeah, definitely. So we met with a firm that's in super growth mode, right? They're planning on opening 4 or 5 more offices throughout the country, quadrupling in size over the next 36 months. So they were having a hard time with the technology platform that they were using in finding out what an employee is actually making and how much it's actually costing the firm for an employee. So they were using their payroll system to get their total pay, right? The taxes, the hourly salary rate, right? But they're not able to track how much is the cost of benefits and how much is the 401k costing them and their gym memberships, different things like that. But then taking that data and demonstrating to the employee that, hey, we love you working here. You're making, I get you make $100,000 a year, for example, but here's what the firm is actually doing for you. You're really making $130,000 a year because we're doing X, Y, and Z. So they wanted a way to utilize the technology to be able to demonstrate that when they do their performance reviews, which was another challenge they were facing, to be able to have one total compensation sheet and say, here's how much you make really. So when you're coming and complaining about, hey, I want to get a raise, you already got a raise, you just didn't know it, right? So being able to have that and say, here's where it's going.
So this is that total compensation sheet and report that you guys have. And what I love about that is that was actually designed by a law firm.
It was.
That was actually designed. I remember when we first brought on isolved into ALA, that was, we were doing a boilerplate session, in fact, and
2012.
Right, and we had a firm step up and say, hey, this is what we need. We need a total compensation report. So that's where you're going with that. And
it is.
and I've seen firms rave about that. So that becomes that becomes just a great solution for them. A great solution. I know that exists.
It does.
I know it was created by a firm, and actually a great leader inside of the Association of Legal Administrators.
Exactly. But to take it one step further, this same firm wanted to be able to use that data and plan for the future. So the performance review system they were using, for example, a paralegal, they had to have 6 different partners do a review on that one paralegal every year. And with the platform that they have, or had, they're having to do 6 separate reviews. The administrator then takes those reviews and combines them together into one review.
It's
incredible. Extremely time consuming. So we were able to take that data, put everything in one single review system, one single document form, but then take it and put it into a 9-box evaluation, which is Six Sigma technology. So as they're looking for goals to set for the employees next year on all different levels, they're also setting goals for them so that they can take it to the next level. Expansion goals. So if they're opening a new office, they need somebody to become the managing partner in that office. Here's the growth plan for the attorney to get to that stage to be ready for that position.
And that's also recapturing productivity from the HR department, from the administrator, which frees them up to, really be able to administrate what they're, what the law firm wants them
Correct.
to do, and doesn't tie them up in trying to create their own wheel. It's there for them.
Right. And it's a culture enhancement.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's bringing in different things from employee peer-to-peer review, employee surveys, customer reviews, all on that same technology platform to help the employee grow.
And it's all right in one. It's all right in one spot.
All right in one spot.
Okay, so that's impressive. I love that. That's an amazing solution. So give us your final thoughts. Give us a summary of what we've been talking about.
When we started this program back in 2012 with the ALA, we had a couple hundred clients that are in the legal industry. We didn't know much about the legal industry, and we've learned a lot that every single law firm is different than the next. But they all work together in a community to help each other out. So now that we're at several thousand law firm clients throughout the country in all 50 states, we're able to really see the need of the law firm and being able to see the future, the direction of the industry. So it's important for the law firms to really be able to see that down the road for themselves as well.
Thanks for being with us today. Where can people reach out and get a hold of you?
My direct phone number is area code 480-710-6818, or you can reach me at mmigdol at isolvedhcm.com, or just call Alan. Everybody knows where Alan is.
All right, well, that's scary. Michael Migdol from isolved, thanks for being here on the stand, and we appreciate it. And thank you for joining us today.